welcome. My name is Jamie and I'm the Circulation Coordinator at the Elgin Public Library here in Elgin, Texas. We're excited to welcome you to our bilingual video series on early literacy called Read to Me or Lee Conmigo, which we are fortunate to provide to the citizens of Elgin and the surrounding communities thanks to a generous grant from the Institute of Museum and Library Services and the Texas State Library and Archives Commission.
O sea que vamos a estar en la computadora y van a estar otras personas viéndonos de su casa, así que vamos a ver cómo sale todo esto, pero yo creo que bien. So I'm so excited. This is our sixth session already, and so time goes by pretty quickly. Esta es nuestra sesión número 6, and so we're moving forward with really learning how to support our children as they start to, kindergarten's just around the corner. And so for many of your children, and so it's important that you know what are some of the steps that you can take to help them. And notice that I'm not saying the word ready, because I think the children are ready. Estoy muy emocionada de que esta es nuestra sesión número 6. Hemos estado aprendiendo diferentes cosas, sobre todo cómo apoyar a tu niño o a tu niña para que ellos puedan tener éxito en el jardín de niños o en el kinder. Yo digo que todos los niños están preparados, están listos. Lo que ellos necesitan ver es el apoyo que nosotros les damos como adultos. So tonight we're going to be focusing on two things. We're going to be focusing on social emotional skills of motivation and the joy of learning. Nos vamos a estar enfocando en dos destrezas. La primera destreza es una destreza socioemocional y se trata acerca de la motivación. Y la otra destreza se trata acerca de cómo tener alegría en el aprendizaje. Entonces, esas son dos destrezas socioemocionales. The other skill that we're going to be talking about is concepts of print. Vamos a estar hablando acerca de la escritura. So concepts of print is basically writing. And we're going to combine those two, the social and emotional skills and the early literacy skills, to be able to get the children to be motivated to read and write. Vamos a estar combinando esas dos destrezas, la motivación y el concepto de escritura, para poder motivar a los niños a que les guste o que sientan alegría al aprender a leer y a escribir. So let's talk a little bit about social emotional skills. Vamos a hablar un poquito acerca de las destrezas socioemocionales. Y voy a estar viendo el reloj para no pasarnos. I'm going to be watching our clock to make sure that we don't go over, because we have some activities that we need to do with the children when the children come back. So there's a lot of research that is coming out about social emotional development. It's incredible to know the type of research that is telling us the importance of social emotional development. Hay muchas investigaciones que nos están diciendo la importancia de las destrezas o del desarrollo socioemocional. So what does that mean? What that means is that researchers are looking at what is effective for when children begin school. ¿Qué es lo que quiere decir eso? Eso quiere decir que los investigadores están poniendo atención particularmente a lo que ellos están descubriendo acerca de cómo es que los niños pueden tener éxito o mejor éxito al empezar la escuela. And so, as a university faculty, when I see that, I see the importance of relaying that information to parents and to teachers. Cuando yo veo eso, como yo soy profesora en una universidad, es importante compartir esa información con los padres y los maestros. So, very often we see children in preschool and they're doing certain things that we feel are not appropriate. But we don't say anything. Muchas veces vemos que los niños están haciendo algo y tal vez no sea apropiado y a veces no les llamamos la atención. We have to say something. Why do you think we have to say something when we see that children are not perhaps doing something that they should be doing? ¿Por qué piensan ustedes que les tenemos que guiar a los niños cuando no están haciendo algo apropiado?
Porque ellos no saben.
Porque no saben, están chiquitos, right? Because they don't know, they're young, right? They're little and they're still trying to figure things out. Porque puede afectarles en el futuro. Y muchas es that it can affect in the future, right? Their future. And many times, one of the things that we don't focus enough is on how to motivate children to just have that joy of being, right? Muchas veces no motivamos a los niños para tener ese gozo o esa alegría de ser. We always think that we need to give them something, right? Siempre pensamos que les tenemos que dar algo para que ellos estén contentos. So if I give them something, they're going to be happy or they're going to respond. Si les doy algo, van a estar contentos y me van a responder. Well, that's taking a not so recommended approach. Because if you take that approach, then they're going to always be expecting something in return, right? Si ustedes siempre les dan algo para que ellos se sientan bien o que escuchen, entonces siempre van a estar esperando que les compren o que les den algo. And so what we're talking about here is we're talking about motivation. What motivates children? ¿Qué es lo que motiva a los niños a hacer las cosas? So when you think of the word motivation, what do you think about? Cuando ustedes escuchan la palabra motivación, ¿en qué piensan? What do you think about? Enthusiasm, right? Joy. Choice, exactly. Dilo otro. Palabras. Tenemos que ciertas palabras, ¿verdad? She said words. There are certain words that we can use to motivate. Hay palabras que podemos utilizar para motivar. Pero tenemos también, podemos elegir, podemos, we can have that choice, right? To be motivated or not motivated, right? Tenemos podemos elegir de tener esa motivación o no tenerla. And sometimes we can be motivated to do things, but sometimes there are things as adults that prevent us to do those things. Muchas veces nosotros tenemos la motivación, pero hay ciertas cosas que nos impiden llevar a cabo lo que nos motiva. Now think about children. What in your case, what motivates your child? Piensen en sus niños. ¿Qué creen ustedes que motiva a sus niños? To be with others, okay. So they have the motivation to be with others, and maybe they do everything they can to be able to get along, right? Because if they can't get along, they can't play, and if they can't play, they don't have fun. Lo que estamos diciendo es que muchas veces los niños están motivados para estar con otros, pero el estar con otros, eso quiere decir que te tienes que llevar bien y que tienes que seguir las reglas, por ejemplo, del juego, porque si no lo sigues, entonces pues no puedes jugar. Entonces se enojan, se aburren y no hacen nada. What else? What motivates your children?
Have fun.
To have fun. Divertirse, ¿verdad? Now that's what we want. We want them to be motivated from the inside. Queremos que estén motivados por dentro. Y eso en inglés se llama intrinsic motivation, right? Se llama motivación intrínseca, que viene de adentro. And so in order for us to get them to do certain things, they need to be motivated. But if they don't know how to do that, then we need to show them. Si ellos no saben cómo hacerlo, entonces nosotros los tenemos que motivar. One of the ways that children get motivated is by doing things. Una de las maneras que los niños se motivan para hacer cosas es haciendo cosas, ¿verdad? And so, for the purposes of our session, we want to focus on how do we motivate children to read and how do we motivate them to write. ¿Cómo es que los podemos motivar para leer y para escribir? One of the ways is that they need to find joy in listening to stories. Ellos tienen que encontrar el gozo o la alegría al escuchar historias. How many of your children love to sit down and listen to a story? ¿Cuántos de sus niños les gusta sentarse a escuchar historias? How long can they listen to a story? ¿Por cuánto tiempo?
Not sure. It could be only one book, and that's it. I'm gone.
It can be only one book. Wow.
Yeah. Endless books. He just brings books.
Just read, read, read. Pueden leer y leer y leer. Somebody else? Do they?
My son only likes the books with like the things, like you tell him what it is, like not like a story.
Not a whole story, okay? You have to walk them through the illustrations. No les gusta leer toda la historia. Ajá.
Lots of books. He likes
All different kinds.
vertical stories, but they have to be interesting.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
A lot of action. Ajá. ¿Alguien más? Somebody else? Mhm. Mhm. Right. And so it's important that, so what I hear y'all saying is that there's some interaction going on. Están interactuando con sus niños, ¿verdad? Hay algo que está sucediendo ahí. When it's only one way, when you just, I can pick up a book, ¿me lo prestas? And I can be reading until I'm blue in the face, but if they don't like it, they're not going to sit. They're not going to listen, and as a matter of fact, they're going to push it away. Si yo estoy leyendo si yo empiezo a leer un libro, porque digo, tienen que leer un libro y tienen que leerlo y tienen que leerlo, pero ellos no están interesados, entonces lo que va a pasar es que lo van a empujar y ya no van a querer leer. And so that motivation for reading is not going to be there. So we're thinking we're doing one thing, and we're really not doing that. And so we need to be very careful. Sure, of course.
My son is in first grade, and they have to do, guided reading at home or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like, when he gets frustrated or like, it's like, I'm tired of this, like I don't want to do it. I'm just like, okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And stop.
Mhm.
I'm just like so scared that I'm gonna ruin his love of reading. Because he loves it right now, but
Well, right. Well, and it's interesting. The most important thing that you can, so the books are not interesting. He's not interested in the books, right? And so, and that's what I was saying. If you push them something that they don't like, you're going to get the opposite, right? Si hace ustedes algo que los niños no les gusta, si no les gusta ese libro, tienen que tratar algo más. So your job as a parent at home is to get them to love reading, right? They have to find that purpose for reading. Tienen que encontrar la razón para leer. So why is it important that they read, right? So my son is already in 5th grade. He's the one in the green shirt. And we went through a lot of that. We went through a lot, even though we read the books and everything. But once they get to school, there's something that happens that switch is turned off. So, muchas veces lo que sucede, mi niño es el que trae la camiseta verde, y lo que estaba diciendo es que él también se frustraba mucho en primero, porque había cosas que no quería, él no le interesaban, y él quiere leer lo que él le interesa. Entonces, y yo hice todo, o sea, leíamos y todo, pero si los maestros les están diciendo, tienes que hacer esto, ¿qué es lo que haces? ¿Verdad? Tú como papá. So, what you have to do is you have to take one step back. Tenemos que ver, okay, ¿cuál es esta situación? The first thing, one of the things that it's latest research that I've been reading about, son unas investigaciones que yo he estado leyendo. Un profesor del centro de Fred Rogers, el Fred Rogers Center, a professor at this center. He's a professor from Harvard, but he works also with the Fred Rogers Center. And what he does is he looks at research, adult-child relationships. Este profesor, este investigador, hace investigaciones acerca de las relaciones entre padres y niños, y él trabaja en la Universidad de Harvard. And so he came out with a word to talk about those relationships, and that's called capacity, capacidad. So, as an adult, I have to have the capacity to relate to my child and to understand when he or she doesn't want something. Yo tengo que tener la capacidad para entender que mi niño, para desarrollar esa relación y para entender que mi niño va a haber veces que no quiere algo. And so the way that we develop that capacity is by listening to them. La manera en que nosotros como adultos desarrollamos esa capacidad es escuchándolos y observándolos. Por ejemplo, tu niño está ya acostadito leyendo un libro. Look at that child, he's laying down, reading, he's happy as can be, está bien contento, right? And so the more that you observe, the more that you're going to learn from your child. Entre más lo observen, más van a aprender de sus niños. That's developing capacity. Eso es como nosotros desarrollamos capacidad. And, and as I'm reading this, I keep thinking of my mother, because my mother loves children. And that's exactly what my mom would say. Entre más leo estas investigaciones, me recuerdan lo que mi mamá siempre ha dicho. Tienes que observar al niño y tienes que ver qué es lo que le gusta, qué es lo que no le gusta, y saber cómo actuar en ciertas situaciones. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to give in to every single thing they want, because that's not having capacity. No quiere decir que les vas a dar todo. Ese no es tener capacidad. Having capacity is having the capacity to know who they are, right, as a human being. So for instance, your first grader, you have to take him one step at a time and listen to see why is it that he's not liking something. And he may not tell you right away, but he's going to tell you eventually, right? And so I don't know, what are some of the things that you've tried? Can you share with us what some?
Yeah, it's usually not very hard for him.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, I just don't push him. Like, if he's frustrated because
Mhm.
through that. Like we'll work through that and like learn it.
Mhm.
But if
Mhm.
he's just like tired and he has ADHD, so if he's like dysregulated
Even more.
that
Mhm.
day,
Mhm.
then I don't even bring it up.
Mhm.
Honestly.
Mhm.
We're probably
Yeah.
the worst parents in the school because I don't think I reading every day.
Yeah,
I do it when the kids feel it, when they ask for it,
Uh-huh.
cool.
Right.
But I'm not gonna make them
Mhm.
because I'm
Al
I
baño.
want them to love reading.
Uh-huh. Of course, of course, of course. And you, what you can do is break it down to different steps, right? Maybe just look, okay, what's the reading about? I don't know if he has to read science or social studies.
They're like these little reader books.
Okay.
And they're
It does.
so stupid and boring. And they're like photocopied.
Oh, okay, okay. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like, if you give him a book that he loves, he'll sit there and
He'll
read
read
it for an hour.
So you can take it, you can divide it up and just say, okay, we're going to look at we'll start with one page. Lo que pueden hacer, que si no les gusta, empiecen con una página. Okay, what does it say? That's it. Perfect. Thank you. Bye. Really? Because you don't want them to get frustrated, right? And so that is having the capacity to know what your child needs. Es tener esa capacidad para saber lo que tu niño necesita. Y muchas veces nos frustramos como padres, ¿verdad? Porque queremos que rápido y vemos que otros niños lo están haciendo y nosotros no. Sometimes we get frustrated because we see other parents going like, wait a minute, look at how they're reading. What's going on? How come my child is not doing that?
Well, I will also note he's reading at a second grade level, and so I'm like, I'm not
Exactly, exactly. Because you don't want, and he's going to be, if he's doing fine at school, then sometimes teachers, they just want the children to be able to go through those books, to check. But your job as a parent, it's not that. Your job as a parent is to make sure that they're loving learning, right? And so if you push it a little too much, they're going to push back. Nuestro trabajo como padres es fomentar que los niños les guste el aprendizaje. Si nosotros no hacemos eso, entonces los niños no van a responder. So those are the social emotional skills that are very important. It's important for children to also to find the joy in listening to stories so that way they can be motivated to read and write. Es importante que los niños les guste escuchar historias. And notice that I said listen to stories. Fíjense que dije escuchar historias. So sometimes you don't have to read a book. JD, sorry. Estamos en la biblioteca. We're in the library and said, you don't have to read a book. But from listening to stories, they're going to pick up that book and they're going to say, I love that book. Just by listening to your stories. Any stories. Cualquier historia. Pueden decir, cuando yo estaba chiquita, nos gustaba ir a la alberca o nos gustaba ir a caminar. Or you can say, when I was little, I would love to go to a swimming pool. I would love to go to walking. Any type of story. You can even make it up. They're listening. And then they're going to transfer that to picking up that book. And they're going to like that. And so how do the children make that transition between listening to stories to looking at the stories that have written print? That's the concept of print. Well, by picking up the book. ¿Cómo es que los niños aprenden? Pues ellos aprenden porque tienen que saber cómo tomar su libro. This is my book. They have to learn how to pick up a book, right? They need to know that they can open the book and that this is the right side up. And how do they do that? You know, a lot of children do this. ¿Cómo saben que está al revés? Well, you teach them. to put it right. And so eventually they're going to know that there's a certain pattern that we follow. Eventualmente ellos van a saber que hay ciertos patrones en esto que se ve que nosotros llamamos letras. They eventually are going to know. So the first thing about concepts of print is that print conveys meaning. Lo primero es que lo que está escrito tiene un significado. And that's really the foundation of reading comprehension. And that's very important. Es la fundación del de la lectura, de cómo comprendemos la lectura. The book orientation, as I just mentioned, la orientación del libro, que es importante. Directionality, la dirección por donde van. Y nosotros cuando estamos leyendo podemos estar apuntando a las palabras. When we're reading, we can point to the words so that way children know which way to go, right? And then that there's distinction between letters, words. My book is falling apart. Used it quite a bit. There's differences between sentence, words, and letters. Que hay diferencia entre los enunciados o las oraciones, las palabras y las letras. However, sometimes as adults, we jump the gun, right? And we want them to hurry up and know that that's a sentence and all the words. And we don't realize that they're going to learn all of that by reading the books. Nosotros como adultos queremos que luego sepan cuáles son las oraciones o los enunciados, las palabras, porque rápido. We think that that's how they're going to learn to read. Pensamos que así es como van a aprender a leer, and that's not the case. También tenemos que los niños tienen que aprender el alfabeto. They have to learn their ABCs, right? But notice that I'm not telling you, first they do this, then they do this, first, second, third, fourth. Fíjense que no les estoy diciendo, tienen que aprender primero, segundo, tercero, cuarto. All of this happens together. Because when you're reading the book, I'll take another book. When you're reading your book, you're not just focusing on letter first. You're not just focusing on words. You're reading the whole thing. And so children are observing you, they're watching you, and they're looking at the illustrations as well. Los niños los están viendo. Y están viendo, sobre todo si ustedes siguen las palabras y les empiezan a decir que esto que ven aquí son las letras, ellos van a aprender esas destrezas. By you just mentioning that these right here that I'm pointing to, those are called letters. And when you put them all together, bless you, when you put them all together, they make something up that's called a word. And you know what? For young children, you may just want to stop right there. You don't have to worry about sentences just yet. No se tienen que preocupar todavía para decirles que todo esto es un enunciado. Because if you do, some children, it might be too much. So, too much information, right? And so we have to wait. And as they develop this, the most important thing is the joy that they find in the book. So, why do we talk about all of this? Well, there's something called read alouds. ¿Por qué hablamos acerca de todo esto? Hay algo que se llama la lectura en voz alta. Have you all ever heard of read alouds? Nope. It's just basically you read aloud. You read aloud. And I'm going to tell you, but when your child starts school, the teacher is going to say, oh, we're going to do read alouds. because in the standards, they tell us to do read alouds. Y la maestra les puede decir, vamos a hacer la lectura en voz alta, porque en los estándares nos están diciendo que tenemos que usar la lectura en voz alta. Now, when you say it in Spanish, it makes a lot more sense than when you say it in English. Because when you say it in English and you say, I read aloud, you're going like, well, what is that? Well, it's you just take the book and you read it aloud. Having said that, there are certain steps that I want to share with you that you can take for a successful read aloud. And it's 6:36, so I'm keeping track of my time. Les voy a dar los pasos acerca de cómo leer en voz alta. The researchers that do research on read alouds, they skip one very important step, and I'm going to say that's the introductory step. You have to choose the place where you're going to do the read aloud. Tienen que escoger un lugar donde vayan a leer en voz alta. Because if it's on the floor, if it's on the corner, if it's when they're getting ready to go to bed, you have to find the best time that works for your child. Tienen que buscar el mejor tiempo que trabaje para su niño. So right now I just saw one of the little boys that comes, and he wasn't feeling good. He didn't want to stay. It's okay not to participate in something if you're not feeling good. Maybe you don't feel sick. Maybe you feel sad. Maybe there's something else. You can always leave it for later. It's more than okay. Siempre, no hay problema si los niños no quieren hacer algo, sobre todo la lectura, en cierto momento. But if you choose a place, then they're going to know that that's a very special place. And so you have to choose the place. The second thing that you have to do is you have to select the book. And how do you do that? Well, you can come to the library and you can, ask for books about anything that interests your child. El primer paso es seleccionar el libro. ¿Y cómo lo pueden seleccionar? Pueden venir a la biblioteca y pueden pedir ayuda a la bibliotecaria en cómo escoger un libro. But in a little bit, I'm going to show you some steps that you can also take in how to select a book that works with the read alouds. Not all books work with read alouds. No todos los libros trabajan para la lectura en voz alta. So the next thing, that the third step for the read aloud is you have to focus on two skills. Tienen que enfocarse en dos destrezas. What does that mean? You can focus on vocabulary skills. You can focus on listening skills. You can focus on any skill that you feel your child needs. Ustedes se pueden enfocar en cualquier destreza que ustedes piensan que sus niños necesitan. And you know what? You have that capacity because they're your child, they're your kids. You know where they are and you know what they need. And so maybe you ask them, you focus on two things. Vocabulary. You can say, what does runaway mean? Have you ever heard of that word, runaway? ¿Has escuchado la palabra andarín? ¿Qué quiere decir esa palabra? The fourth step is selecting interesting, funny, action vocabulary words. The more vocabulary you give your children, the more vocabulary they're going to have. That's easy math, right? Lo más que ustedes puedan compartir con ellos el vocabulario, el más vocabulario que ellos van a tener. Matemáticas, bien fácil. So the more you do of something, the more you have. Lo más que hacen de algo, lo más que tienen. One of the things that teachers worry a lot is about vocabulary, that children don't have vocabulary. una de las cosas que las maestras se preocupan es que los niños no tienen vocabulario. So sometimes we can say, come on, can you give me one of those? Well, one of those is what? ¿Me puedes dar ese? And I can be saying about the salsa, that it's in a bowl. Or I can be talking about the spoon. So you have to be very specific. Tenemos que ser bien específicos. But the vocabulary you should use, in addition, the one that you find in the book. Tienen que usar el vocabulario que encuentran en los libros. That's one of the purposes of the book. So it's important that they find the joy of learning, but then you can find other ways of other things that they can learn. Es importante que los niños estén motivados para leer, pero hay que tener motivación para el vocabulario. Paso número 5, step number 5, ask why and how questions. So when you select that book, make sure you read it. Sometimes we just pick up the book and we just start reading it, and then we realize, oh, maybe that wasn't such a great book. A veces escogemos un libro, lo empezamos a leer y pensamos, este libro no es muy bueno. And so it's a good idea to read it before and then just develop a couple of questions. Pueden desarrollar 2 preguntas. Preguntas de por qué y cómo. And the why and the how questions are very open. So, children can just say whatever it is, but they're listening to you. And those are the types of questions that are going to build the reading comprehension. Esas son el tipo de preguntas que les van a ayudar con la comprensión de lectura. In step number 6, you can do activities after the read aloud or at another time. Pueden hacer actividades que se relacionan a la lectura en voz alta, and anything from the example that we're going to do when the children come, we're going to make a sock puppet. Vamos a hacer un títere con un calcetín, and they may not have to be that complicated. You can ask the children, your child, do you want to draw what you heard, in the story? You want to draw about the story? ¿Les gustaría dibujar lo que acaban de escuchar? And sometimes they're just going to be so excited that they're just going to start, to draw. And it's okay, because from the drawing, the writing is going to develop. De los dibujos van a desarrollar la escritura. Why? Because they're using their small muscles, they're using their hand, their fine motor coordination, están usando su motriz pequeña, se le dice, y están ejercitando lo que necesitan para poder saber escribir. And so they can't just start writing like we do, they have to start somewhere. And when we give them those opportunities, maybe it's just going to be a squiggle. Is their squiggle? Ask them about their squiggle. And you're going to hear all this terrific vocabulary. Ahora, van a escuchar, pregúntenle acerca de lo que dibujaron, y aunque estén haciendo un garabato, pregúntenle acerca de ese garabato, porque es un garabato que tiene una historia y los niños se los van a contar. Okay, so those are the steps for the read alouds. Do y'all feel comfortable with read alouds? Ahora saben lo que es la lectura en voz alta. So when your teacher in kindergarten or first grade, when they say, we're going to do read alouds, because that's part of the standards, you guys are going to know exactly what a read aloud is. And you're going to say, we do read alouds at home. Van a decir, nosotros tenemos la lectura en voz alta. And you know what? That's being ahead. That's being prepared for those terms that the school use, right? The teachers use, and then you're going to know what they're talking about, right? Van a estar preparados para cuando las maestras utilicen ese vocabulario. All right, so I know that the children are going to be able to take the book, The Runaway Bunny, van a poderse llevar El Conejito Andarín, and that's one of the most fun books, and it's 6:46 already, so I'm going to have to wrap it up. Let me just give you some. The Runaway Bunny is like one of the best books for a read aloud because it has all or the majority of the features. El Conejito Andarín es un libro que realmente es fenomenal para la lectura en voz alta porque tiene todas las características. It has pattern, rhythm, rhyme, and emotions. It has illustrations. It has familiar vocabulary. It has new vocabulary. All of those are features of books that are good for read-alouds. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to send you this information through email so that way you can have it, especially the features of the books. And you can bring that to the library and you can ask Miss Jamie or one of the librarians, can you help me find a book that has these features or characteristics? Lo que voy a hacer es que yo les voy a mandar esta información acerca de los libros que son buenos para la lectura en voz alta y les pueden pedir a Miss Jamie o a otra bibliotecaria que les traigan libros, que les ayuden a escoger los libros que son específicamente para lectura en voz alta. So the book that we are going to read tonight is called, and I don't know where the children are, no sé dónde están los niños. It's called Maria Had a Little Llama. María tenía una llamita. And it's based on the children's nursery rhyme, Mary Had a Little Lamb, but from a Peruvian perspective. That's where the llama comes in. Entonces, lo vamos a estar leyendo. And one of the things that you're going to do after I finish reading the book, you're going to ask your child a favorite word they heard. Van a pedirles que escojan una palabra favorita. And so then we're going to make the sock puppets using these types of socks. And then we have letters for everybody, foam letters. And you're just going to glue the letters. You're going to make the word. And whatever word they like from the book, and they glue it on the sock. But it's going to be important that you put the sock in your hand or in their hand because when you glue it, you don't want the sock to glue together. So, you can put it and then they can write the word. And you can write it on your journal and you can ask them, what word did you hear that is your favorite word? And if they don't remember any of the words on the book, it's okay. You can say, I remember this word. Entonces, cuando los niños vengan, van a hacer ese títere o marioneta y se van a poner ustedes el calcetín para que no se vaya a pegar. Entonces, con las letras las escogen de las palabras favoritas y las van a pegar. So when you get home, you can just add words. So you can even name the puppet. Now, the llama is Maria's pet. So you can talk about, maybe your child has a pet. A lo mejor su niño tiene una mascota. And so they may want to create either the llama or their pet. Okay? Anything that they want with the sock puppet. Now, you can use the puppet for when you're getting ready to do your read aloud. And you can get their attention by using that sock puppet. Pueden utilizarlo para llamarles la atención, para motivarlos, so you can motivate them to read. And you're going to motivate them to make those words. That's the motivation to write. And so then you get home, you can do it with a marker. Write it and name the puppet. So I don't know why they're not coming. But let me see, because we have 10 minutes. Y'all ready? Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So they're coming. Ahí vienen. Are there any questions? ¿Tienen alguna pregunta? the book now, and then they're gonna make a sock puppet. Okay? Okay. You can sit right over there. Oh, de este lado, dos. Okay, let's go ahead and read because we have about 10 more minutes. Vamos a leer porque tenemos 10 minutos más. Do y'all have a pet? ¿Tienen una mascota? You do? What kind of mascota do you have? A fish and a dog. Tienes un pez y un perrito. How about you?
I have a pig and a panda.
A pig and a panda? Oh, he's not. All right.
I have a dog.
You have a dog?
I don't have a dog. I have a fish. I have 3 fish.
3 fish? Okay.
I have an orange one
Uh-huh.
and a white one
And a white one? All
and
right.
a blue one.
And a blue one.
And they're died. And Mama Mia and Silva. He said he's talking about the Lion King.
Oh, the Lion King. Okay, well, we're going to talk about a little girl named Maria. We're going to read a story about Maria, and Maria had a pet. Vamos a leer una historia, un cuento de una niña que se llamaba María y ella tenía una mascota que era una llama, and she had a pet who was a llama. Maria had a little llama. María tenía una llamita by Angela Dominguez. Maria had a little llama. María tenía una llamita, whose fleece was white as snow, cuya lana era tan blanca como la nieve. And everywhere that Maria went, y a donde María iba, the llama was sure to go. The llama la seguía. He followed her to school one day. Un día la siguió a la escuela. There's a school, la escuela. That was against the rules. Eso iba contra las reglas. It made the children laugh and play to see a llama at school. Y los niños rieron y jugaron al ver una llama en la escuela. The teacher had to send him out. La maestra tuvo que mandarla afuera. But still he lingered near and waited patiently about. Pero ella se quedó cerca, esperando pacientemente for Maria to appear, a que apareciera María. Why does the llama love Maria so? The eager children cried. Maria loves the llama, you know, the teacher did reply. ¿Por qué la llama quiere tanto a María? Preguntaron ansiosamente los niños. Porque María quiere mucho a la llama, la maestra respondió. The end. El fin. All right, boys and girls. This is what we're going to do right now. We're going to make a sock puppet. Miss Jamie has the socks. You can make the llama. Pueden hacer la llama. Or you can make your own pet. Okay? And so we're going to, and then after you make that, you're going to put a favorite word. Cuando terminen eso, van a poner una palabra favorita.
I want to make a police dog.
You're going to make a police dog? That's wonderful.
Mama Mia, a police. You want to
Good.
make the Lion King.
You're going to make the Lion King? Okay, you can make the Lion King.
I'm going to make Simba.
All right. Let me make this over there. There you go. Oh, I have a black. So here's some black that if y'all want to use it for like the ears or something like that, and you can get the scissors and they'll cut them. Yeah, some black.
Each bag has all the same letters, so we have to share.
Oh, is it? Okay, I don't know that. Yeah, okay. They all have the same letters, so we're going to put them in the middle, and you guys have to share. Y'all have to look for the letters that you need. Sure, yeah. Do you have the scissors? Yeah? Okay.
I'll just put the basket on the table then.
Yeah, there you go. Do you need glue? You have some glue?
What are you gonna make? Nothing.
You.
You can use the pink to make a tongue. Le pueden hacer la lengüita. Yeah, you can get a sock. Did you get some pink of felt? Do you want some? That's for the tongue. You can create a little tongue. There we go. There you go. There's some squiggly eyes. You got the glue. I'll just put. Miss Jamie has some. She's passing them. For your puppet, there's some yarn here that you can take. And you can cut a little bit and you can glue on it just to add to it. Do you want to use some of the yarn? No? Okay. Here's some yarn. For that. 1, 2, 3, 6 moms. Oh, I like that. Is that? I know. Look at that.
Now we gotta spell nothing.
Nothing. She likes nothing. All right. So you need a lot of letters. I thought you meant spell nothing, like he didn't want to spell anything.
Oh, well, that's what he said.
That's his
but
word.
I said, okay, fine, nothing.
Nothing. I like
I
that.
told the bear to make him a pet, and he said no name. I said, okay, no name.
No name. Yeah, exactly. 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 The wiggly eyes right here.
Here, we can use the same tongue. We just have to glue it again.
What's your name? Juan. ¿Es Juan Carlos? ¿Te llamas Juan Carlos?
Juan Cervantes.
Juan Cervantes. Es que tienes una C, mira, ahí. Vamos a ponerla ya para que no le pongas resistola. Ándale.
blow on it?
No, wait,
You
Mommy.
didn't blow on it?
They can do it. Other people switched it on. Both of us tried to push it on hard, but it won't work.
Did you put some glue on it?
Yes.
And did you blow on it?
Daddy.
Oh, I blow on it.
Oh, that's awesome. Very nice. You got it?
I need like hot.
The what? No, just the regular glue will do.
Can
You got
I
it?
get glue?
You want the glue? There's one more over here. There's right there, look, you can get it. There you go. You got the glue? He can lend you some of his glue. You want to lend him some of the glue? Let me see. Oh. Well, you have to put it in like this. You can put it like this. Did you put it in? Careful so your eyes. So it'll be right there, look.
You know what I made?
So put it right there. You did. So put your...
I made something in school. I made a bottle.
Okay, put it the other way.
I made a bottle with a Rudolph.
You did. Can I see it? You can put it on the other side. You want to put it on the other side?
It's open now.
It's okay. It's okay. You know why? Because they're not dry. That's why. You just need to let them dry. Pick it up. It's okay. It's all right. Look, let me show you. Like, see, this one didn't have glue. That's okay. Look, we have all the letters. We have the squiggly eye. Can I put it? Look. Can I have your hand? Don't throw them away here. I'm going to show you. Okay, so you put it in. All right. Hold on. Hold on. This is going to be where the eyes go. And your mouth goes right there. Okay? Yeah. And then you can put the letters right here. But you need to put more glue because, here. Look, let's use this. Are you ready?
Deja que se seque. Ok, y aquí está la verdad.
No, that one doesn't go with it. Because it goes back.
Okay, this one is dry. Let's see. Oh!
She likes other people to help her.
Yeah, that's all right. Here, we're trying to get the glue out. It's a little dry. There we go. See?
What?
Here we go. Okay, here. Oh, come back. Here. Okay, let's put them on.
You're gonna have to wait.
Hold on. Okay, we're going to put it right there. Okay? Don't move it because it's wet. And if it's wet, it's going to fall off.
Biryani. I like you to meet biryani. Hello.
This one doesn't have any more.
Here, I have
You have some more over there? Okay, let's go over there. You have to put more. There we go. Put this down. All right, here we go.
my other one's eyes to stay.
Yeah. It just takes a little time for it to dry. And so you have to do the same thing with the letters, okay?
Yep. What letters are you gonna put on the?
You want the S?
That's for what? For what?
Serenity.
Oh.
Okay. Let's see.
Um,
Nice and mushed on there.
That's about.
Thank you sign on the door for the restaurant that provided our meal. If you can sign it before you go, there's some markers on the table.
So,
I need to
okay. Right there, look, you can ask him to share the glue with you.
He graciously said yes.
Yeah. All right.
Where's the black? Because I want to make
The black is right over there, look. The black felt. Yeah, you can go around and you can go ask them if you can have a little piece. And I'm sure they're going to say yes. So as you can give it to Jamie. As you complete your puppet, we will see you in April 14th. Okay, and that will be April, and then our last one is in May. But it's still daylight, yay! That's 1 month. That will be like 30 days.
4 weeks.
4 weeks, yeah.
So if you have a young child who you want to introduce to the wonderful world of reading, you need to come and join us at these fun and informative sessions the second Tuesday of every month, starting at 5:30 in the afternoon. It's a 90-minute session. If you'd like to sign up, you have any questions, you can call us at the Elgin Public Library. Our number is 512-281-5678. And remember, it is never too early to teach a child to love to read.